Welcome to Rich Keys Trading Channel, where we unlock one candle at a time. Please pay attention to the disclaimer on your screen. And with that out of the way, let's get into the charts. Welcome back, my fellow traders. Today is Friday. It's about 3:28 p.m. New York time, and I just want to share a bird's eye view of Bitcoin to see what the future looks like for those of us looking to participate in the crypto market. All right, so I want to start from a very high time frame, and I know people may wonder who trades on a 3 month chart. Well, it's just an atlas view. The atlas tells you where all the roadmaps probably will lead to, and then you might drill down to your local map, and then you decide to see what your trade plan would be going forward. So please, this is not financial advice, as I always say. It's just my way of analysis to tell the story of Bitcoin today. All right, let's get into it. So here is a 3 month chart that I'm looking at for Bitcoin. And as you can see, Bitcoin in 2017 peaked, we consolidated, we peaked again in 2021, pulled back, and now we have peaked also in 2025 and we are pulling back. So this, pattern seems to be rhythmic on the chart. And I want to show you something on my cycle system that I use to determine whether it's time to buy. So as you could see, if you bought Bitcoin in 2015, you did very well. You went all the way up. You hit the high of 2017. We came back down, and in 2019, thereabout, if you bought Bitcoin and you stayed in, you'd have had the whole rally to 60,000 in 2021. Then we had our bear market from 2021 all the way to 2023, where we bottomed out and we rallied all the way to 126. So this is a bird's eye view. And after this top, we coming down. From this cycle chart that I use, it tells me it's not yet time to buy Bitcoin. Now, usually once you hit the 50% mark on my cycle, likely you get a bounce. Okay, similar to what we had here in 2020. We had gone up, we pulled back, and then we went up. But this time around, we're coming from the top, we're not coming from the bottom. So the fact that we get here, potentially we could get a consolidation, we could get a small bounce and continue our way down. I don't envisage that we will bottom out until my cycle hits cycle low somewhere around the 20 level mark. So we have some months to go before we can call the bottom on Bitcoin for all those who are eager to buy this sell off. It might be too soon. You might be catching a diving knife. Now, let's go down to my other indicators to give you some clues as well. So if you look, my MACD has crossed over on a 3 month chart period, and we're coming down until this kind of circles around, which the early indicator you get is the stochastics cycles. If I look down to this indicator that I just created recently, it's called the Delta EMA. All right. So the Delta EMA is a good predictor whether the move down is done or not. Okay. And as you can see, we hit our topping right here and we're heading our way down. All right. Now, if this should cross the zero line like we did here in 2022, that would be really bad. That would mean we're really going through a bear system or a bear market on Bitcoin. So far, we haven't crossed. So there is hope that we might be able to bounce off this zero line. We'll probably get a mini rally. But like I said, whenever my cycle tips down low, I'll be able to know that the bottoms are in on Bitcoin. Now, one would say, okay, what are some of the catalysts that drove price action when we hit our cycle low? One of them was this hidden bull, and all these indicators are available on TradingView. You could find them. This is just normal RSI. This MACD settings that I'm using here, and this one is Another MACD that I pulled up from Lux Algo indicator. He's pretty good. His indicators are really good. Highly recommend them. So you realize that on MACD in 2022, we had a bullish or a hidden bull divergence. Now, hidden bull divergence usually occurs when price falls lower, but not lower than previously. However, your indicator goes lower than the previous. So if you look at this MACD here, we came lower compared to this MACD here. This was the lowest MACD you had in 2019. But in 2022, price was higher, yet your MACD went lower. So you had a hidden bull that took us, sailing up. And then you had your bearish divergence that has technically been bringing us down anyway. Until we hit that cycle, I don't think we're done. I don't think the move down is over. We might get some bounces, that's for sure. Support, resistance, order flow, they are going to kind of create their balances for you to get a trade in and out. But this is just a bird's eye view that I just want to share. And now, when we step down to the monthly chart, another high level TA analysis, we just bouncing off the 50 EMA on the monthly chart. It's usually the rhythm that you get to these moving averages and you bounce. When did we get one like that? Let's go back in time, 2022. All right, so 2022, we broke the 21 on the monthly chart. Guess where we came to find support? Right here at the 50. We bounced off the 50, but the following month, we had our bleed all the way back down. So here we haven't our move up from this 21 50 EMA on the monthly chart. Let me zoom it out so you can all see. So we came slightly here and then we bounced. Now, I do anticipate that we might probably hang around this level, maybe 71,000, the max that I expect the pullback to go. And then next month, all right, so from about maybe this month to maybe the beginning of March, we might hang around this level. We might consolidate. And I'll show you on a daily and weekly time frame why I think we're going to consolidate for a while. And then by the end of February, would probably be the next leg down. And the next leg down will probably bring us all the way down to somewhere here within this liquidity zone that I've been calling for, been targeting. All right, somewhere around 50, 51,000. So I'm not expecting Bitcoin to just gush down from where we are all the way down to 49, 50,000. Maybe in the next week. It's going to take a few more weeks before we make that move. So, hang out, take it easy, you know if you're looking to short, be very careful because we are quite oversold on the daily chart as well as I think on the weekly chart. So we might have this bounce, consolidate, and during consolidation, that is the market maker's playing field. I'll show you that in a little bit. I just want to show you the best eye view of how things look like. If you look at your RSI on the monthly chart, we actually below 30, okay, on my RSI settings, okay. This tells me that we potentially could be getting a bounce anytime soon. So a bounce or probably a sideways price action. I don't think we're going to just collapse below this level. This is an area that every time the RSI gets here, we seem to get some reaction to the other side. You could look at that here from 2022. When we came to this level, we had a bounce up. The only good thing in 2022 was that we had a bullish divergence and that took us off. We don't have one yet, so which means we might move out of this level, probably make it up to about what, 30, 32, maybe 35, but we'll come back down. This is why I say we'll come back down to that 51,000, 49,000 zone before the next leg down. Potentially, if we do come and we form a divergence on the monthly chart, we're probably going to have a little bit of a rally for a few months before our continuation down. So let's keep that in mind as we look at this from the monthly time frame. Again, also to tell you that we are at a place where we would soon get a bounce. is also the stochastics cycle on the monthly chart. As you can see, we're almost at cycle low. We just haven't turned, and just like here, when we got turned around here, we made a move back up. When we got turned out here in 2019, we started making our move back up. So based on this monthly chart, I do envisage that we will get either some sideways consolidation bias like to the upside very soon, but we haven't yet got our signal. So let's be patient. When the signal is there, we'll all be able to get on board the train. Let's not try to jump onto a flying horse. All right. MACD settings also tells us that we are not yet, we haven't even got a MACD that is giving us a monthly histogram bar that is different from the previous month, which suggests that momentum to the downside based on the monthly setting has not yet given us any clues yet. Now, of course, if this month happens to be one that we get a MACD histogram that is a little bit like a pink color, then we would say, okay, beneath the hood of our engine, something is changing. Now, we've just started the month and it's like this, and we don't have a change in color yet. So we still have to hang tight. Um, if I look at my delta EMA, that spells doom and gloom, all right? Because whenever this crosses the zero line is the center point between bulls and bears, all right? Now, of course, since sometime 2024, delta EMA has been coming down, which means the selling actually started somewhere around here, all right? So whilst price was going up, this is where the bearish divergence started. Institutions and big money was kind of selling into retail, but once it crosses here, they are out. Basically, there's no money in the basket. So here is totally bearish. You could look at one that we had here in 2018 until this turns around. It's just no good. Likewise, if you look at from 2021, bear market, they were selling into the 60,000 price tag, right? They sold, sold, sold. So there's a big divergence that happened, and it bottomed out somewhere around 2022, where we had our rally, and then we made it up to 100,000 zone here. Um, Somewhere here, I think 2024, 2025, yeah, right here. But all this time, this thing has been diverging, all right? And it's been on the chart. So if you look at it carefully, all this move here was without a lot of money flow. Or basically institutions were just pumping into retail. They were selling into retail, and now they finished selling. That's why price is falling. They might be coming back, and actually, I think with all this price selling, they probably has been picking some at certain price zones, accumulating, and potentially they might make another move up, but I don't think they're going to make that move up to a new all-time high based on the 3 month cycle chart that I just showed you before we got to this monthly chart. Now, should they do a move up, how far do I think things might move up to? I think if they hold things around somewhere here, they might probably push it up to somewhere here. There's liquidity sitting around here, somewhere around 94,000. They probably could do that. So that will be an area of interest once the monthly gives us a green light. If you buy it somewhere around like 50,000, 54,000, 56,000, you could probably ride it to about 40, maybe about what 89, 90,000. That's what we'll be looking at, but we haven't got our confirmation yet. So this is all dubious speculation that I'm doing here. Now let's step down to a closer time range, which is the weekly chart, and see what our story looks like on the weekly. So last week, we had this huge sell-off that was absorbed. This whole selling was an institution selling and an institution buying, basically manipulation, went to trigger some orders down here, and they decided to hold it up here. They're not taking you to the ceiling yet. But again, this is the 200 EMA on this weekly chart, another very significant moving average on every chart. And I'm sure every trader that really, is active on the market knows that the 200 EMA, it's an important EMA. So we are holding down the 200 EMA for now. Now, I sincerely believe that price is not going to fall through this 200 EMA easily. We're probably going to do consolidation like we did right here around the 100 EMA until price comes to meet at least 9 EMA somewhere around here. I don't know when that will be, but my um, time range is looking at somewhere around like March ending. I would exhibit that to you in a little bit. Give me 1 second. Let me finish this weekly setup. So we're probably going to grind sideways from here for the next few weeks. We're not going to probably gash down. I don't think so. Why again? Because if you look at your RSI on the weekly, we really, really, really oversold. Like literally, we are at the bottoms of where on the weekly price usually would hit RSI and turn around. I think in 2022, we hit a RSI level of about what 9.1, and right now we are somewhere around like 13.09. So we kind of close to the worst place of selling, which in this case, we in our reference, it was 2020, 2021, 2022. I apologize. So be careful shorting. If you are holding a lot of short, please lighten up because things could turn around from here, or we could just hold a grinding sideways whilst RSI reset itself at least towards the 30-33 level. So again, based on the monthly and the weekly, um, the down targets are not yet to be realized. Okay, I do suspect that price would go sideways for a good while before we hit those targets. All right, so I just added a few things to the chart just to explain to you why I think we're going to grind sideways for the next few weeks, probably for the next few yeah, couple of at least couple of weeks. I expect us to grind a little bit sideways before our next move down. So the green line you see down here, this is the Bollinger Band, the lower Bollinger Band, as you can, as I'm pointing right here. And the purple line you see is a KC channel band. And here is your median or your 21 or your 20 EMA or SMA, whichever one you use. But take it as the median line here. All right. So when price moves towards the band and rise the band, and then we capitulate and we bounce back into the band, now we just write in the inner band. But usually, what happens with KC bands, Bollinger bands, is once we get overextended, we usually retrace back towards the mean or towards the middle band. All right. So your black line here is your middle band. Now, if you look at it, we're quite far away. Okay, price it's kind of a little bit far away from our middle band. We're about almost 8% from the middle band. If you look back to when we had a similar move, okay, that was when we came to somewhere around 80,000. All right. So here we collapsed all the way from mid part of the band. We collapsed, hit the band. We retraced back into the band towards the 21. Then we cashed down. All right. Rode the band all the way down, capitulated with huge. Pay attention to these volume bars. These were huge volume bars. These are capitulation volumes, right? So once you get this kind of volume, it tells you that we're going to what? Balance ourselves or retrace back into the band. Now, what happens when we get into the band? We'll talk about it in a minute. But that's what I'm expecting on Bitcoin from where we are currently. We've hit outside the band. We've had a green candle on the daily chart. Today was a green day. We moved back towards inside the band, and we're going to probably make our way towards at least the 21. It won't go up in a straight line. We'll have some, buys, sells, buys, sells. This is where the market maker would attract people back into the market, and take advantage of the volatility within a sideways price action, for a few more weeks. I would say at least probably a month to a month and a half. I expect a similar consolidation to occur before the major leg down happens. So here we had our 80,000 and we did that same move, all the way up to when we got to about 90,000, 90 something thousand, uh, you know, right about this level. All right. So I want you to pay attention to the length of time it took from somewhere around November 21st, 2025, all the way up to about June 14th, 2026. This whole price action that we saw here was just a consolidation price action. Basically, price was trapped between, let's say, about 84,500 to about, let's say, 95,000. So about a 10,000, price range was how the Bollinger Band or the sideways price action occurred. But it occurred for a pretty lengthy of time. I mean, from June 21st all the way to January 14, 2026. That was a pretty lengthy time. If I should put this measurement on, which is my time range, okay, so let's measure from when this occurred until we broke out. And we broke out somewhere, we broke the base somewhere around, give or take, let's put it this way, which was January 29, 2026, is when we broke the low, which was the base right here. We broke this base, all right? So once this base was broken, that's a change of structure. If you follow any technical analysis, that means we broken below the support. So here was the support. We broke that support, and then down we came, boom, boom, boom. Now we hit almost 60,000, and we have bounced back. So with this bounce back, I expect us to go sideways for a while before the next leg down. However, there's a principle that um, the length of consolidation sometimes determines how far your price target would go before you bottom out, right? So if I consider the fact that we traveled from November 21st all the way down to June 29th, that is a lengthy period of accumulation. All the big players, the traders that accumulated in this zone, taking a short position, are not interested in just taking a mere profit of what? If you put this one here, that's just about 27%. Now, whilst the one would say 27% is significant, for the length of time, that is just a small price for them. They're not done. They're looking for a bigger fish. For them to hold their money for all this time in a sideways position. Let's not forget, some would take a short here, they will hold. When price went here, they took a short, they were holding. When price got here, they probably added some more short. And then eventually, this is where they've got to. They're not done. That I can tell you for sure. They're not done. They would definitely sell some more, but they would accumulate, bring in some more buyers, get in some more liquidity, and then they'll be able to leg the leg down again. Just like what they did, we came down from 126, we got here and we consolidated before the leg down. So that's and usually this is like a three-wave pattern, for those that kind of follow Elliott waves or any wave theory. It's like A, B, and C. All right. Now the thing with A, B, and C patterns is that your leg A is approximately going to be equal to your leg C. Leg C is usually the longest length of the wave pattern. So at the very barest minimum, if I'm to use even just the wave distance to measure, okay, so let's put our measurement tool right back here again. So from 126 all the way to 80K, that was your length A, right? So if length A was about 37%, as you can see right here, then I expect length C to be about also 37%. Now, if I put this measuring tool right back here and put it down here, 37% brings us, interestingly, it brings us to where close to exactly where we came to. So we have accomplished the leg A equals leg C. So possibility is that, we grind sideways here and we might get a move up. Now probably we might get a move up from here, but as I said, based on the higher time frame, I'm not expecting that to happen anytime soon. um if you look at our indicators on this daily setup, right, you would realize that we came here, we have hit RSI so low. Let's not forget our RSI on the weekly is also very low, suggesting that a potential move is to the upside. So for now, I would consider that where we are is a floor, it's a support. We're going to hold this support for a while. um you know as our cycle is heading down, we're probably going to hit cycle low sometime over this weekend. And then once we hit the cycle low, be looking probably for some longs, because in a sideways channel, you go from the lower band to the upper band, lower band, upper band, but price doesn't move that far. That's the problem with sideways price action. So let's be a little bit cautious about going long for too long. All right. But I do expect that we go sideways. And at some point, I expect price to consolidate around the 21 EMA. And depending on when that happens and the conditions there, I do expect us to go down one more time. Now, whilst this length B to length C is now equivalent to length A, usually length C is the longest wave. Okay, a lot of times it's two times or at least 1.5 times the length A. Now, another theory that holds true is that um, if you measure the distance from November 21st, okay, to our breakout point, which was somewhere around January 29th, right? It was 70 bars. All right. So we're looking for 70 bars down also, because the length of consolidation usually is at least equal to the length of the distance that you travel down. So as you can see, this is 70 bars. So from here to here, we formed 70 bars. So I do expect us to travel 70 bars down before I would say that this distance of consolidation is now also equivalent to the distance of travel. This is another reason why I think we will sell some more. So if I should project downwards 70 bars, then I will be looking at something like, where's the tool again? Come on. All right. So here to here, let's say we keep going down, 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 down. 70 bars. Okay. Let me extrapolate this a little bit more. So this is 60, let's say 70 bars brings us to somewhere around April. All right. So, like I was saying, when do I think we will probably hit our lows? Now, it doesn't mean the low will be 44, because we probably could also go sideways for a period of time, which would all create some of the bars that we need. But in terms of time period, in terms of time period when I think, we'll probably bottom out, I think somewhere around like end of March into the first, maybe second week of April is when I'm thinking that, we'll find some floor for Bitcoin. Okay, so to conclude the Bitcoin analysis for the weekend, uh, I just want us to look at the 4 hour chart. As you can see on the 4 hour chart, we're grinding sideways. As I was saying that, we're probably going to be going sideways. It's going to attract some buyers in. But if you know how to trade a sideways market, this is your market. Okay. So, we from the bottom here, this is like the area of support on this sideways channel. Until we break the resistance, this is also the area of resistance. And there is liquidity sitting somewhere around this level here. around 73 to about 75,000. So, you can expect price to wake its way up to about 75,000. The reason is that this whole thing that you see here is called the fair value gap. Okay, price didn't really allow participants to trade within this level right here. So it won't surprise me. Price makes it to about 74, 75,000. Currently, it would try and make it to about this level because this is another fair value gap that was created here that is still not mitigated yet. So let's keep these two zones, in check. That actually, let me just put a mark on my chart here so that we can remember that price could wake itself up to about this level. Okay, so about here, it's about somewhere here. This will be the resistance that I'll be looking for on Bitcoin as we stay in this sideways price action. So here will be the resistance. Okay. All right. So here's your resistance block or liquidity area that price could wake itself up there. For now, I think this is just going to stay within this, probably going to hold down below this 50 EMA, also the Bollinger Band, the upper Bollinger Band, as well as the upper KC band, which is kind of riding along this area. So I don't expect us to go above 71,000 this weekend. And this my reason is because even though momentum is to the upside currently as we speak or as I record this video from a very bullish divergence on MACD that has given us what we had today, Friday. So Friday has been bullish on the crypto market. We had this divergence that was created, and we have been moving up since Friday morning till now. But I think over the weekend, we'll probably be selling down as we have already hit a cycle high on our stochastics. I think we might be probably be coming down this weekend as well. And then, who knows where we find support, somewhere within this mid range. And it's probably just going to keep chopping inside this sideways price action. So I do envisage that we'll probably go through this sideways price action. Going back to the daily chart, if I should extrapolate this, I do expect us to stay within this price zone maybe until like March, maybe mid March, who knows, probably towards the end of March. I expect this to continue its way through here. All right. So just to extend it on the longer time frame to see how far I think this might be going. I think this might continue its way towards this channel. Occasionally, it would grab liquidity to the top. Occasionally, we would dip down and grab liquidity below here, because this whole zone here also is an area of liquidity. All right, from here to here is an area of liquidity that is sitting, waiting for market maker to grab. So here is an area of liquidity. All right, did I spell it right? Liquidity. All right. So let's be careful. There is area of liquidity up here, and there is an area of liquidity out here. So, like I said, when the market gets like this, that's the market makers playing field. They have money to the top, they have money to the bottom. In other words, people that bought here, they probably have stop losses right down here, and they wouldn't mind coming for it. Those that took the short somewhere here, they also have stop losses sitting right here. The market maker will be interested in grabbing all their money as well. So, if you know how to trade, you probably could trade within the range. I can tell you when to buy, where to sell. It's not financial advice. I just do analysis and I share my perspective freely. All right. I think I spent over 30 minutes on Bitcoin analysis. I wish everyone a profitable trade this weekend. I might present analysis on the indices, gold, silver, and the dollar index and a few forex pairs. So stay tuned. I might be posting videos or charts on some of these assets as the weekend unfolds. Thank you, everyone, especially to those that just recently started following me. Welcome aboard. I'm glad to share my perspective and share my knowledge. So stay tuned, and I appreciate you for reading my publications. Give it a boost. Share it with a friend, share it with an investor. You might just save them from a bad trade, and they might be thankful to you for helping them out. All right. God bless everyone. Have a great day. Bye. Thank you for unlocking market insights and trade ideas with us. One candle changed everything today. We hope you can already see how today's analysis can transform your trading and investing decisions. If today's breakdown helped you spot opportunities or potential risk you would have missed, consider subscribing to the channel so you never miss an important opportunity or avoid a potential risk. Kindly give the video your support with a like and comment below with your insights. Share the video with a trader or investor you care about. They will thank you when it saves them from a bad trade or a missed investment opportunity. Until the next presentation, keep unlocking profits one candle at a time. Thank you.